Life is a journey. Along that journey, you're going to become thirsty. Someone is going to hand you a half glass of water. Are you going to stop and ponder? Is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? No, you drink the water and continue your journey. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Welcome to An Apple a Day, a podcast, a resource, a community. Share your experiences and learn from others as we overcome barriers and learn to live a happy, healthy life with a disability. Welcome to the community. Here's your host, Jimmy Apple.
Welcome to another episode of An Apple a Day. I'm your host, Jimmy Apple. But today we're not doing a full episode. Today we're just doing a bite, a slice of the apple. That's right. But before we start, I want to apologize. That's right, apologize. We've gone a couple of weeks without an episode, not on purpose, but because moi, was in the hospital once again. That's right. I had gone to wound care because I had a wound on my leg, my only leg, so I have to take care of that. Went to wound care and swollen, a little discolored, and I had an open wound. And they said, I want you to go right over to the emergency room. Went over to the emergency room, and they said there was an infection in my leg. Next thing I know, they have me on IV antibiotics, and they said, you're going to have to be here a couple of days. That was on a Thursday. Then I was scheduled for a routine stress test that Saturday. So my wife calls my cardiologist, and he says, well, that's good. Well, you're in the hospital. We'll do the stress test tomorrow. It's like, oh my God, this is happening really fast. So next day I do the stress test, and the doctor comes up a couple hours after the stress test, and he says, Mr. Apple, I have some bad news for you. And this was supposed to be a routine stress test when we were in the office a couple of weeks before. He said, I don't expect to find anything. Don't worry about it. But the day of the stress test, he says, Jimmy, he says, we have a problem. He says, your circumflex artery, it looks like, right next to the LAD, otherwise known as the Widowmaker, has a blockage, an extreme blockage in it. And he says, we're going to have to do something about it. We're going to have to do an angiogram and probably place a stent. I was like, oh, okay, that's better than what I was thinking all of a sudden, because I was thinking open heart surgery, right? So he says, I'm going to keep you in the hospital over the weekend. We're going to do it first thing Monday morning. Okay, great. So they start doing blood tests and getting, all the pre-surgical stuff out of the way. A couple hours later, I get the doctor in again. Same doctor, my cardiologist. He says, Jimmy, we have another problem. I said, what's that? He says, your kidney values are really bad. I said, what does that mean? He says, we can't do anything with you unless we get these kidney numbers down. So what we're going to do, over the weekend, we're going to flood you with fluid to get the kidney numbers down. Okay, he says, and we're going to change antibiotics. Okay, I don't know what they're doing. So I said, all right. And I got my wife and I'm telling her, and she says, yeah, that's normal. Okay. So they change the antibiotics and they start flooding me with fluids, and they check my numbers again, and my numbers go up again. So I don't know what to tell them. I'm not doing anything. I'm in a hospital bed, and they're pumping me with fluids, and the only thing I can do is sit there and take the fluids in and put the fluids out. It's like being in a bar without the buzz. And so I'm doing this, and they check me again Monday morning, and I'm all set. Didn't eat anything after midnight on Sunday. And at 10 o'clock, they come in and say, we can't do the procedure today. He says, your numbers are just too high. So the cardiologist comes in later on in the day, and he says, we're going to try again for Tuesday morning. Keep pumping you with fluids. Tuesday morning comes, and he says, I'm sorry, we can't do anything with you today. Your numbers are still too high. So he says, what we're going to do is we're taking you off the antibiotics, and we're going to send you home. I was like, okay, is that safe to do? He says, yeah. He says, you're just going to take it easy for a week, drink plenty of fluids, and we're going to schedule you for next week. So I was in the hospital that week for 5 days, and then I had to go back again the following Tuesday. He says, now prepare to stay a couple more days, because if we put a stent in, you can't go home that same day. He says, if we don't have to put a stent in or anything, you can probably go home that same day. I was like, all right, that sounds all right by me. He says, don't plan on it though. Okay. So I go in Tuesday morning. They say you have to be here by 7 o'clock. I was like, that's great. That's great. They get a call the day before on Monday, and they say, you have to be here by 6. I said, what happened to 7? They said, well, you have to be here by 6 because we want to flood you with fluids again for a couple hours. I get there, and they said, we're still not sure whether you're going to go down. We have to run the numbers again. And sure enough, they said, okay, you can go. Well, they go in. They take care of the blockage in the circumflex artery. But then after it's all said and done, I came out of anesthesia or whatever I was in. The doctor comes up and talks to me in the afternoon. He says, everything went well. We took care of that blockage. He said, but I have bad news for you. I was like, what else can go wrong here? He said, you have 2 more blockages. It's like, you're kidding me. Nope, 2 more blockages. One is at 60% and the other one's at 30%. I said, well, why didn't you do them while you were in there? The one at 60% at least. He says, you can't do anything till it's over 70% or 75%. And that's because of the insurance companies. And the 30%, well, it's still too low. So they got to wait until I'm over 75% blocked before they can go in and do any kind of intervention on it, unless I show symptoms. So I guess I have to have another heart attack for them to go in before it's 75% or better. Same thing with the 30%. But I have an appointment next week with the cardiologist again, so we'll see what happens there. But I just wanted to explain to you, I'm not looking for a woe is me, because I'm happy as hell that they took care of it and it's done. And the funny thing is, 85%, that's a significant blockage. And I had no symptoms. I had absolutely 0 symptoms that I had a blockage in my heart. And that, the circumflex is right there, it joins with the widowmaker at a certain point. And I had no symptoms of a blockage. So it just goes to show you how important it is for you to, especially as we get older, to make sure that you keep up with your doctor's appointments and do the tests that they suggest. I want to make that clear. I want to impress that on you. That make sure you take care of your health. I had no idea I had this blockage. Had I waited, I'm sure I would have known. Because, to tell you the truth, this is stent number 10 in my heart. That's right, 10. 1-0. I now have 12 stents in my body. I have 1 in my right carotid artery, 1 in my right femoral artery in my leg, and 10 in my heart. I also have a prosthetic in my left carotid artery. And to be honest with you, along with my amputation on my left leg, this is all from diabetes. If you're a diabetic, please, I'm begging you, please control your diabetes. Don't think of it as don't worry about it, push it under the rug. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you go to your doctor's appointments. Make sure you do what the doctor tells you. Maintain your blood sugars. That's all I'm saying. But that's why there hasn't been a podcast for the last 3 or 4 weeks. I've been in and out of the hospital. I've been back and forth from doctors. So I'm sorry about that. I truly am sorry. I don't like to miss the podcast. But going forward, we have a lot going on. That's why I wanted to be here today and let you know what's going on. We have an interview with a wonderful author, Tracy Garner, coming up this week. And she's got a roadmap for disabled people. Her book is phenomenal. Absolutely, positively phenomenal. And she's working on volume 2. And I'm not going to let the secret out of the bag, but it's going to involve people from our podcast and people who read her book. It's an all-inclusive type of deal coming up. And she wants you to be a part of it. She's putting out volume 2 of this book already. And she wants you to be a part of it. So please, I'm going to announce the dates later on this week when the interview will be live. So listen up. Please listen up. It's going to be a great interview. She is a sweetheart of a lady. So you want to be around for that. I also have an interview coming up this week with a young man named Sam. He's a fellow podcaster, and he has autism. And he's beaten the odds. He's in college right now, and he's got to be one of the most intelligent young men I've met. I had a phone conversation with him just the other day, and I'm going to interview him about his new podcast. So you want to hear about this? This is this is phenomenal too. If you know somebody that has autism, or somebody who has somebody knows somebody with autism, or you just want to find out about it yourself, you don't want to miss this interview. And later on, the following week, we have another interview, and she owns a dance school that helps people with developmental disabilities. And again, can't ask for a nicer person. And she's so helpful with the people in her groups. Again, you have to listen to it. You have to listen to it. But there's so much coming up. Plus, again, we're adding to the podcast. We're adding to the websites. We have so much coming up. Plus, this week, November 17th, is our 4-year anniversary of an apple a day. That's right. We have been doing this for 4 years. And the only reason we're doing it for 4 years is because of you, the listeners. And I am so thankful. I'm beyond thankful that we have such a great group of listeners. You guys are great. You guys are phenomenal. I know I use that word a lot, but you really are. You're here every week. The numbers have gone up. We're heard around the world. And I can't be more appreciative of that. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you some way big. I'm looking for some way to make this bigger, to make it more inclusive. So please know that I'm grateful every week that you download our podcast and you listen to it. I'm grateful for the emails, and I just can't say enough. I really can't. But we're gonna do something special for our 4-year anniversary. We're coming up on our 250th episode of An Apple a Day. So there's so much going on, and I want you to keep listening as we open up more and more doors on the podcast itself, and on the group page, and on the website. And we have a new page coming out now. Again, I don't know how else to tell you. It's just exciting news. So please stick around. And again, I apologize for the last couple of weeks with no episodes, but that won't happen again for a while, unless I find myself back in the hospital, or I don't know, my one good foot in a box or something. Who knows? But there's a lot of exciting stuff going on, and we're going to be adding more episodes. And for those people that have written me about the Vegan Possibility, yes, it's coming back. It's coming back with a new host and a different format, a much more organized format than what we had. And things are just going good. Things are really going good, and it's all because of you, the listener. I can't stress that more. But anyway, look out for us this week. There'll be a couple of episodes coming out this week. And each week, each episode that comes out, I'm going to give you a little bit more information of what's new coming out. There is so many new things coming out over the next few weeks. Before the end of the year, you'll be surprised. Your head is going to spin, because it's not going to sound like the old podcast anymore. It's going to keep on building. And our focus of this podcast is for you, the disabled person, or you, the caretaker of the disabled person, or the family or the loved one of a disabled person. We focus on people who have disabilities and getting through this world as easy as possible. That's the focus of this podcast. We're not a woe is me. We're not, Debbie Downers or anything like that. We know people with disabilities don't just think about their disability all day. They think about other things. We're still human. We have disabilities, yes, but that's not all we think about. That's not all we do. And we want to make other people aware of that. You see some of the groups on Facebook, that's all they talk about. Especially, some of these groups, it's like 24/7. They're talking about disabilities and how hard their life is. Yes, we know life is hard. We're living it. But we also have some good times. So let's look out for the good times. Know what I mean? Hey, I want to make sure that you're keeping up with your doctor's appointments. Please make sure you keep up with your doctor's appointments. And don't forget, virtual doctor's appointments are still available, and Medicare is still paying for them. So take advantage of that fact, especially now that the weather's starting to get cold. And take advantage of getting your medication delivered to you. Now that the holiday season is here, You gotta watch out for this COVID-19. People on the news, they're telling us it's gonna be super spreader time. Wear your masks, people. Please, even if you got the shots, wear your masks. Keep yourself safe. Our immune systems are weaker than most people. So make sure you wear your mask. Keep yourself safe. And as much as you can, socially distance yourself from other people. You want to be here for next Thanksgiving and next Christmas and next New Year's, right? I know I do. Hey, look, I'm going to talk to you more later during the week. I just want to explain why I wasn't here the last couple of weeks, and I want to let you know what's going on. So stick with it. Watch for the next episode to come out this week, and I'll talk to you then. Have a great day. Thanks again for being a loyal listener of An Apple a Day, and I'll talk to you then. Have a great day, my friends.
Thanks for listening to An Apple a Day with Jimmy Apple, your gateway to a happy, healthy life. Join our community at www.famousapple.com. See you next time.